Alright, so today we're going to be taking a look at a special deck here. This is from Philip, who reached number 4 with this deck in the last season. And they've kindly sent this deck to me to check it out, so we're going to be taking a look at this deck today. So this is Birthing Ritual Fear of Change deck. We've covered this deck before, but this one's a lot different and has a little bit more power to it. This deck is playing this card called Badgermo Cups in the deck, which actually unironically has a really good synergy with the Fear of Change. So this deck is playing 4 copies of Disciple of Freyalise, which the Badgermo Cup can earthbend as a land. And if the Fear of Change sacrifices the land portion of Disciple of Freyalise, because of the earthbending, the land portion of this card is going to come back as a Disciple of Freyalise. So the Fear of Change is going to give you a 2-mana card on the battlefield because it just sacrificed a card. And then the Disciple of Freyalise come onto the battlefield, sacrificing the Fear of Change. That's also going to trigger the Fear of Change into sacrificing the Disciple of Freyalise. And all of a sudden, you now have an 8-mana card on the battlefield, which is kind of insane. Other major difference compared to the usual Birthing Ritual list that you see is that this deck is playing Eldritch Evolution, and because it's playing Eldritch Evolution, it's also playing a lot of 1-up cards that can actually shut your opponent down. For example, if you're playing against a Storm deck, you can Eldritch Evolution a 1-mana card into an Archon of Lemuria, or let's say if opponent has some non-basic lands on the battlefield, you can even Eldritch Evolution into Harbinger of Seas on turn 2. Or if you really need a Graveyard Hate, you can also Eldritch Evolution into an Endurance. That's also going to be pretty good, but it's also a way to trigger the Fear of Change's Dying trigger as well, which means you can also grab another Fear of Change with this card, or you can even grab a 3-mana card or 4-mana card from the deck. And speaking of a 4-mana card, this deck is also playing an All Fates Stalker. So this is a removal spell that you can grab from an Eldritch Evolution. And lastly, you can also go into something like a Quantum Riddler or a Starfield Shepherd. If you go into Starfield Shepherd, you can also grab things like Sylvan Safekeeper or Mockingbird, but the Quantum Riddler is going to be the safer play for general purposes, drawing a bunch of cards. But this deck actually doesn't have that many 3-mana cards that you can Eldritch Evolution from into a Quantum Riddler or a Starfield Shepherd. And that's where the Fear of Change comes in again. If you have Fear of Change, any of your 1-mana cards, those are going to become a 3-mana card. So you can sacrifice a 3-mana card to the evolution. You can go into your Quantum Riddler that way. And lastly, of course, Birthing Ritual is going to maximize the value of the Fear of Change, letting you freely sacrifice this card to grow our creatures. So it's definitely a fun card, but it's also pretty powerful just because even though you could be getting potential bad stat sticks on the battlefield, but turns out sometimes a 7-mana 7/7 or 8-mana 8/8 can just kind of win you the game, just because in this format, a lot of decks are just kind of relying on things like Dismembers or Fatal Push, Fragment Reality. So just getting a big fat chunky creature is going to be enough to win the game most of the times. So having said that, we're going to be hopping over to our first game here with this deck. So let's take a look. Right, we're taking a look at number 4 from last season. As you can see, the only change I made was that I've added a starting town instead of the semi-colored fast land. I think I'm gonna mulligan that one. Ooh, okay, I'll keep this one. So we probably want double green. And this is going to be white. And we want to Badgermo Cub the Disciple of Freyalise. So that once this card dies, it becomes a creature. Oh, very nice. Very nice. So this is 2+, so... Okay, it looks like we're playing against the Chorus control deck. They're even playing Mystic Sanctuary. So, does anybody know what happens if you Fear of Change this card? Does it become a 1-mana card? I'm so lost, actually. Yeah, I'm actually not sure what's gonna happen. I mean, I can just always Endurance here. Should I just Endurance? I think I should just Endurance, honestly. I'm too afraid to find out. Like, if I Fear of Change, it becomes... I think it'll become a 1-mana card. And then the Disciple of Freely comes back, which can eat the Fear of Change. And then the Fear of Change can... Maybe it actually works the way I think it does? I am so lost. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's gonna happen, so... I mean, we'll find out here. Okay, so I'm gonna tap this card. Let's see what happens. So we get a 1-mana card. It became a 2-mana card? Oh, it's a +2. Okay. And then we sacrifice the Fear of Change. Okay, so it does work the way I think it does. So now we have an 8-mana card that says discard a card, return this card to its owner's hand. When recast or copy an instant or sorcery spell. So it can dodge a removal spell. Sure. A lot of things happen there. Opponent playing bunch of Terminates is actually kind of annoying. They could have actually just drawn this, by the way, from an Endurance. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, reveal the top card. If it's an online card, you may cast it by paying 1. So -5, -5. Do we want this card? I don't think we want this card to my hand. It's 8-mana card. Like, how are we ever gonna cast this card? Also, why is my opponent playing that? Okay. Fatal Push, gone. So, I think what I'm gonna do is, I'm probably just going to upgrade this card. See what happens. Return another permanent you control to its owner's hand. Enters or dies. What's going on? Double team. Whenever this creature with double team attacks, if it's not a token, conjure a duplicate to your hand. During your turn, this creature has first strike. Oh, sorry, like I'm reading a lot because I'm seeing so many cards I've never seen in my entire lifetime. It's actually nuts. It's actually nuts right now. Okay, so... I mean, I get to attack. I'm not really sure what this card is. I think this actually might be a Fatal Push. I think it's a Fatal Push. I guess if it's a Fatal Push, maybe I play this card. Oh, it was the card that they stole. I didn't want to go Birthing Ritual or Eldritch Evolution just because we know what opponent was gonna be topping. Oh, that's why they are playing this card, just because of the heist. I didn't even know it did that, by the way. So we Badger Mole Cub, the Witch Enchanter. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. I think it's just better to Birthing Ritual instead of any other card here. Just attack with this. Okay, we get a Quantum Riddler. But I want to sacrifice this, right? I don't have a good target for this, though. Wait, what happens if the Mockingbird copies this thing? Should I find out? Oh, it just becomes a... Okay. Okay, a lot of things happening that I've never seen before. It's an 8 mana card that says, whenever it attacks, you may pay 8 if you do tap up to 8 target permanents. Oh, they stole a Quantum Riddler. Okay, fairly annoying. That's a good card. They found a shanty. Do you guys see this? It's a flying land. You may pay 8. But I don't have an 8 mana. Surprising that it actually gives you a target. Okay, so if I do this, I get... Okay. So it's gonna return as a creature. I got a Fog Blank. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to and dealt by this creature. Wait, it's just invincible. Opponent can't do anything. A lot of things happening this game. We're gonna grab a Noble Hierarch and upgrade this creature into a 12/12. Whenever we cast a spell, so discard a card with mana value X, counter target spell with mana value X. Okay, and it also has a menace, by the way. I mean, how do you win? A 4 mana card. Discard a card with mana value X, counter target spell with mana value X. So I don't have a 4 mana card. Well, interesting. So I don't want to take a damage right now, right? So... I could actually definitely lose. So I can sacrifice this for... another Fear of Change. That becomes a 4-mana card. Whenever this cast, you cast a non-creature spell, put a oil counter on this card. Okay, we're gonna pass here. Archon. Quantum Riddler. So we can get an Archon with this card. As a flyer. This becomes a 6-mana card. Reach, Trample, Ward 2. Okay. Well. They could have another Cryptic Command. They had a Kolaghan's Command. So they actually had lethal. Okay, Sink the Stupor was actually a very, very good draw. Okay, I could play the Noble Hierarch first, but I currently have an Archon here, so I have to hold up a Sink the Stupor in case something happens. Okay, nothing happened. Okay, Disciple of Freylis is a 6-mana card. We could draw quite a lot of cards here. And also gain some life. But I have a Sink to Stupor, and I have an Archon. I don't think I have to do anything. I think I win if I just sink this. Okay. That was an 18-minute first game, by the way. That was an 18-minute first game, by the way. Alright, we're gonna want Mystical Dispute. What did I just add? What did I just add? Oh, that's bad. I don't know what I just add. I don't actually know. Okay, let's see. Harbinger actually could be pretty nice, considering that they are playing 3-colored deck. Like maybe 1 copy. Oh, maybe I added a Dismember accidentally. Dismember against them. I don't think Dismember is particularly great, in my opinion. It also gives them target to for them to heist as well with the Lootmonger. I don't think giving interaction spells is a good idea against a deck that just kind of steals a bunch of cards. Maybe I'll add 1 copy of a Haywire Might. Alright. Yeah, that was a very long game. So we kind of have to win right now. Otherwise, it's not going to be a good time. Since we're also kind of behind on time. We'll leave up Mystical Dispute. So I'll leave up Endurance and Mystical Dispute. Another one. Does it really matter? I guess they would be generating a bunch of treasures though. This looks like a fatal push. Okay, very nice. Worked out better than I expected. Okay, well, they have a lot of treasures, so... Opponent can... kind of... should I have actually played the Disciple of Freylis first? Actually, might have been a mistake. So we're gonna attack here. That is 4 damage. Okay, so they stole a Badgermo Cub. They have a lot of mana. Lot of mana. Just gonna be attacking with this. Again. The problem is, they have 2, 4, 5, 6 mana. So if they play that 4 mana card bounce, I guess they can still Mystical Dispute it. Let me actually play the Birds of Paradise first. Now I'll also play this, and then I'll Eldritch Evolution. Go with the Quantum Riddler. Perfect. Now we also have a Sanctus Stupor. Alright, so they only have 1 mana. It's unfortunate. Okay. Yeah, I think we got this under control. Like, we didn't even have a birthing ritual here. So opponent doesn't block. Next turn, we can Sanctus Stupor this and then attack. Alright, GG's. Great first game. Probably should Bolg this one. Okay, this looks good. So we can Sylvan Safekeeper, play Fear of Change. Man, we're so bad at drawing a birthing ritual. Every other time I play against these kind of decks, I see so many people getting birthing ritual on turn 2 so consistently, but we don't get that. So I think we'll lose game 1 against this deck. Unless I guess I could also maybe go for Harbinger, maybe? Maybe I should go for Harbinger. Try to lock my opponent out. Maybe that's what I should do. Oh man, this card is actually sick. I actually haven't played with this card in such a long time. I forgot how cool this card is. So opponent doesn't have a land, it seems like. Alright, I think I'm just going to go into Harbinger here. I'm not even sure if I play this card, by the way. It could be that opponent DC'd. I might still leave this game in just because of the potential of being able to play Eldritch Evolution into Harbinger in these kind of matchups. Just so that you guys can kind of see what's available for this deck. Okay, I mean, opponent could have timed out. It's definitely a possibility. I'm still gonna leave this back. Yeah, it looks like opponent timed out. Also, by the way, in this matchup, post sideboard we got triple Rest in Peace, so and double Harbinger, so that's probably how you win against this kind of deck. Alright, first time seeing Birthing Ritual in 3 matches in the opening hand, that is. Ooh, Fear of Change. Love to see it. So this means the opponent didn't have a Fatal Push or a Thoughtseize. Okay, looks like they just drew it. Fair enough. I'm gonna go with the Birthing Ritual fast because they could draw into a Thoughtseize. And this also makes the Jarsoul turn kind of bad. Okay, we're gonna be shocking a lot. So play this. Fear of Change. We got a 2/4. Whenever you discard a card, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. Oh, a Harbinger. So we could have a Harbinger down. The problem is, we also don't have a... I think Harbinger might be hurting our deck if I played it. Because they currently have all the lands, right? They have a Mountain Ignoble Hierarch. And then they also have a treasure token from the Shaman. I might go into a Noble Hierarch. When this card enters, if you cast them, and there are 3 or more Dragon or Lessons cards, create a token. Okay, it's not a card that we have to worry about. Sucks that they drew a Thoughtseize there. Into a Barragoyf. Alright, we got another Birthing Ritual. I don't think I can attack with this card. So I can technically get this and then get rid of a Barragoyf. That's something I can do. Maybe I should do that. A Fear of Change. But I don't want to Fear of Change anything. It will become a 6-mana card. How good is a 6-mana card? Probably can't even block this card. Excuse me? Like, what are you? What? I'll go with the Death Touch. Oh, I can even select another one. Okay, I'll go Lifelink. Oh, a Grim Dancer. A mini Barragoyf. Yeah, it's actually a mini Barragoyf. Malevolent Rumble. Okay, opponent finds another Barragoyf. Probably have to get rid of that Kikijiki. Okay, so this must be a Fatal Push. So this is happening for sure, right? Now the question is, do I want to take additional 3 damage? I block like so, and then they get rid of a Stalker. Probably not a good idea. I need a good top deck, like a Quantum Riddler. Okay, kind of bad. Not a good top deck there. Okay, there is a Quantum Riddler. What to do? What to do? What to do? Oh, I made a mistake. I thought it was a 4-mana card. Kind of a yikes. Whoopsie. Okay, we need something that's like humongous for the Barragoyf. That's not one. Okay, 7-mana card surely can block the Barragoyf, right? Can I see an Aatroxa? Oh, that's actually really good. Hold up. Wait, how come... Wait, what just happened? Did it... Shouldn't it have a transport one more time? Am I mistaken? What happened there? I feel like something's not right. Okay, so we have an enchantment sorcery land and an instant speed. That's 4 card types in there. We have a enchantment creature instant speed. So enchantment creature instant speed. So it'll be 3 creature types if I endurance opponent. But then they have a ignoble hierarchy and whatnot. Alright. Can we get an indestructible creature? This is... What are we doing here? Okay, that's definitely not good. That's definitely not as good, I would say. Okay. What should I do? So, I can sacrifice this for another Stalker, but then they can still attack with the Shaman for 5 damage, which is, like, kind of bad. Come on. Big money. Big money! I still don't think it's enough. I kid you not. It'll be a 9/9? Oh, actually, it still actually conjures something. What can they get? A Fatal Push? So they're gonna, you know, do that. Okay, sure. I think I just double block. Okay, we killed a Baragoyve. Finally killed a Baragoyve. All it took was a 9-mana card. All it took was a 9-mana card. Guys, is Baragoyve broken? Could be. So I'm doing this now because I might actually have to sacrifice the endurance for something. So let's get a Quantum Riddler with this card. It's a 5-mana card, so... Okay, we see another Quantum Riddler. Actually, what about Disciple of Freyles? Gain some life and draw a card. on an endurance, maybe. Because if a Pyroglyph comes down, I just die if I don't do that right. So I think that's the safer play. So I think this block is safe because it doesn't die to Fatal Push. Okay. I'm gonna Starfield Shepherd. Grab a Mockingbird here. So I want to copy the Jar Soul. Archon. I could also stalker opponent's Ignoble Hierarch. Another Riddler. Okay! I don't know how we won, but there it is. Alright, this matchup, we have a wonderful card versus opponent. That just says, win the game against Jund. Harbinger's decent, but they play a lot of mana dorks. But it's definitely something that we should consider. I think the Archon's probably bad. Other cards to consider is like more copies of Dismember, but I think it's unnecessary. Let's actually fix this a little bit. The Mockingbird is really good because they have very high quality creatures that we can copy. It does become bad once the Rest in Peace comes down though. But then I can just copy my own creatures. I think the Formidable Speaker can go. I don't know if I like this card too much. Is it actually just Dismember? Maybe Dismember is just kind of bad. Because I think if the Rest in Peace comes down, I don't think I need Dismembers anymore. Ignoble Hierarch. Let's start with this card first, since we have to shock that in for the Bedroom Club next turn anyways. I'll go with the Birds of Paradise. Okay, that's perfect. So now I can shock this in. Play the Badger Mole on the Fraileys and play the Rest in Peace. So I need a Witch Enchanter at the moment. Should go blank. Interesting. Why not on the Badger Mole? Opponent found out that that was our only white source. So we can't stalk her anymore. How do they know? We might actually lose to this Kiki-Jiki here. Yeah, we actually might lose to that Kiki-Jiki.
Happy to help, but I'm taking the credit when we win.
I mean, we can always just top deck a good card. Let's just top deck a good card. Easily top deck Quantum Rillers. Okay, that's really good. That was a good card. So we can get rid of a Kiki-Jiki here. Oh, I wish it tapped this instead of this. Oh, man. Because I needed to block with the Fraileys. It's kind of bad. Oh, they're gonna do it for me.
Haven't you ever heard of personal space?
So I guess I'll just draw 2 here. Cool, cool, cool. No! The opponent got me. Oh, wow. Okay. That's probably game over, actually. Let's actually attack first with the Disciple. I should have attacked with the Stalker, too. Oh, that's insane, by the way. I'm so glad I didn't cyber out the Safekeeper. Jarsel does nothing.
Don't overthink things.
So the thing we need to do at the moment is we need to win before a board wipe comes out, right? Is the Liliana really doing anything here? I guess if they do draw a board wipe, it's something that we...
That's my cue to leave.
Oh no, I actually should have attacked, because if they do have a board wipe, it's probably Toxic Deluge. So if I put them to 6, they can't kill the Quantum Riller. Oh, that's a mistake. So there's a fear of change. I'm gonna get rid of a Badger Mole here. I don't think I get rid of a Quantum Riddler. I'll just get rid of that. Okay, this deck is insane. Alright, we took a look at this deck today. I couldn't include like too many games in, just because each match was so long. This deck requires too much decision making that every game just takes way too long. And coupled that, there's also a lot of reading. So many cards you have to read because you're gonna get a lot of draft chef cards, which means you're half the time, especially if you're a constructed only player, you're gonna be reading quite a lot with this card. Actually got to showcase probably, if not everything about the deck. I think every card came out, which was actually kind of insane. And that's also kind of the nature of playing a deck with Birthing Ritual. And also, the deck isn't fast, right? There's some stacks elements as well, like with the Archon, Harbinger, the Stalker, things like that. So the deck isn't fast, and you also have a lot of like tutor effects with like Eldritch Evolution, which is another card that I actually haven't played in such a long time. Last time I played a Birthing Ritual deck with the Fear of Change, the card that I was actually playing was this card. Neoform. It's a lot weaker than Eldritch Evolution just because this deck is a lot playing a lot of 5-mana cards. So having some 3-mana cards lets you jump into, you know, a 5-mana card. And even though we're not playing that many like 3-mana cards, like look, we are only playing Endurance plus a Formidable Speaker, but if you play a Birds of Paradise into a Fear of Change, already because this puts a card on the battlefield that is of CMC X+2, which means the card that you're going to get is a 3-mana card that is going to allow you to Eldritch Evolution into a Quantum Riddler, which is quite strong. And compared to last time, the card that we were actually playing was an Oculus in this deck. Although the Oculus is okay, but this one, on the other hand, we are relying a little bit more on the stacks element and the Starfield Shepherd into grabbing like a Sylvan Safekeeper or Mockingbird. And then you have some, you know, Badger Mole Cub to ramp into a Quantum Riddler. So the Quantum Riddler is going to be top end instead of an Oculus. This card is much harder to kill just because it has 6 toughness, but it's also 5-mana card, which means one of the most played removable spells, such as the Fatal Push, actually doesn't work on this card, which is good. There were also some learning moments as well with the Badger Mole Cub and the Fear of Change, especially if you Badger Mole Cub Disciple of Freyalise. I wasn't really quite sure what would happen, but looks like my assumption was correct. And it's actually a pretty insane combo here. The fact that the Badger Mole Cub can make the Disciple of Freyalise become a creature once you Fear of Change this card. But I wasn't quite sure if the Fear of Change actually gave me an 8-mana card immediately, and it actually doesn't. If the Garden of Freyalise is on the battlefield with the Badger Mole Cub, the Fear of Changing that is still considered a 0-mana card. The Fear of Change is going to give you a 2-mana card onto the battlefield, and then the Disciple of Freyalise comes in, and then it can sacrifice a Fear of Change, triggering this card once more, and then that's going to trigger the Disciple of Freyalise, which is something that I actually hadn't thought about until I was in that situation. So I'm actually pretty happy that I caught on that, and I'll probably also talk about this in the intro. The changes that I made to the deck, in the sideboard, it was playing this card called Antique Collector. I'm kind of assuming it was in the sideboard for a little bit of a grindy matchup. This card says whenever a creature enters battlefield, if that creature dies, you shuffle it back into the deck, and then you investigate. It's for grindy matchups, potentially to stop you from decking out, because this deck does go through the deck pretty fast with cards like Disciple of Freyalise, drawing a lot of cards, Quantum Riddler, plus just birthing ritualing every single turn. But with the endurance, what you can do is like if you're not playing against other graveyard deck. So I don't suppose versus a graveyard deck it's gonna go long. So endurance is gonna be for opponent's graveyard. But let's say if you're playing against like a grindy matchup, like a control deck, I think in those kind of scenarios you can just endurance yourself and then put those cards back into the deck. So I didn't think it was too necessary, so I don't have that in the sideboard, but instead I have another copy of the Archon just for the Storm matchup. I know Rest in Peace is already really good against the Storm matchup, but just having another copy of the Archon seems really good. 3 copies of Archons and 3 copies of Rest in Peace. That's pretty good. But rest of the sideboard is basically the same. The only thing I changed about the main deck is the starting town. Instead of a starting town, it had a botanical sanctum before, which is the Simic fastland. Without the starting town, the deck is playing 4 white sources. You will never be able to cast like cards like the Stalker, Archon, Starfield Shepherd, if the Birds of Paradise or Noble Hierarch gets removed. I thought that was a little bit iffy, so I was like, why not? Let's play the starting town. Although you do kind of have to watch out for your life total. And we kind of came close to potentially dying out, but from the random cards that we get from the Fear of Change, giving some life back, or you also have the Frailes, Disciple of Frailes, also gaining in life. So you know, I think the starting town is good. Before I go, let me briefly touch up on the sideboard. So we have a copy of a Haywire Might against other pesky enchantments or artifacts. Then we have the Rest in Peace. This is good against Samai's Gamgee, Yawgmoth, a Phoenix, and the Ruby Storm, and Jund. So Rest in Peace is actually pretty disgusting. Although it does hurt our Fear of Change here because it says when this creature enters or dies. So it is going to hurt the Fear of Change a little bit, but in those kind of matchups, I think the Rest in Peace is just a really good card. 2 copies of Archon versus Ruby Storm and potentially Phoenix as well. And then we have Force of Negation. This is probably for other combo decks that likes to reanimate on their turn. And then we have Harbinger of Seas against other greedy mana-based decks. And like I showed you guys in the second match, although the match kind of briefly ended just because opponent kind of disconnected, I just kind of wanted to show you guys like in game 1 situation. Game 1, it's pretty unfavored for the deck just because you don't have access to things like Rest in Peace. In those kind of scenarios, you still do have the option to Eldritch Revolution into Harbinger of Seas for game 1. But in game 2, you're gonna be relying on Rest in Peace versus Samai's Gamgee. And then we have a Mystical Dispute versus like a control deck or blue-black tempo. And then you have 2 copies of Dismember versus fast creature decks. I think this deck probably will struggle versus Aura. Although Aura is kind of in the decline at the moment. So you're not going to see like too many Aura decks, but this is for like very fast aggro decks out there. And then you have a copy of a Force of Vigor versus other artifacts and enchantments. Definitely bring this card versus Affinity, things like that. But yeah, I think this deck is actually quite sick. Philip climbed all the way up to number 4, Mythic Ladder, right? So yeah, I think give it a go. I think this version of the Fear of Change Birthing Ritual deck is quite sick. Definitely a lot better than the previous Fear of Change deck I played. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye-bye.